The first coaching opening, meaning head coaching opening of this season, offseason, has been filled in the NFL. Jerod Mayo replacing Bill Belichick in New England. Also, the first GM job filled with Adam Peters being the newly appointed Washington. They're not going to call it a GM. It's going to be a president of football operations, but he's the lead decision maker in Washington. He comes from San Francisco. I never get why they do that. President, general manager, whatever. Few things. First, let's look at Jerod Mayo. Turns out that domino may have fallen years ago. Ian Rappaport is reporting that it was written into Mayo's contract that he would be the successor to Bill Belichick, which allows the Patriots to not have to go through all of the hiring process and Rooney Rule and bring in for Zoom interviews followed by more interviews. If you have an internally set coach in waiting, you can skip all of that and just go straight to the hiring process, which they did. So Jerod Mayo, the new coach in New England. This is a win for the Panthers. Is it a big win? But it is a win nonetheless. Jerod Mayo was not on the Panthers list. He should not have been on the Panthers list. He's a linebackers coach with no head coaching experience. It makes sense for New England because he's familiar with everything up there and he knows how it's run. And for lack of a better term, he knows the Patriot way. Coached, played, learned everything up there. But that doesn't apply to Carolina. So he's not on the list. So good. One of the roles that is more attractive than yours was filled by somebody you didn't want anyway. That's a win for the Panthers.
Yeah.
That makes it more likely you get your guy. And more it seems like your guy may be Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick or Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator from Miami, with Slowick being the offensive coordinator from the Texans and Johnson being the offensive coordinator from the Lions. Whoever your guy is, you want him to not get the other jobs because if he has the choice between you and the other jobs, he's going to take the other jobs. This is good. This is a win. Again, is it a big win? No, because there's still 6 other opportunities out there, but you take wins, you don't give them back. And for a team that is desperate for any kind of victory, you will take it and you will celebrate it. Maybe the more interesting one is GM Adam Peters in Washington or head football decision maker.
I think he's going to be actually labeled GM. I think that way, if he does well, they can promote him to the VP of football ops, however they want to do it.
So Adam Peters in Washington, call him the shots. We'll do that. He's the shot caller. Big baller, shot caller.
And he was like the first guy that John Lynch hired in San Francisco when he took the job as general manager in 2017.
And you always wonder about these. As soon as the Washington job opened, it was very much they're targeting Adam Peters. All the insiders kind of had an idea. So he's there. And here's where it gets interesting. Here's where that win I just gave the Panthers for Jerod Mayo taking the Patriots job. You might get back to even, right? It's like golf. You birdied a hole, you're about to bogey a hole, right? You got to win, you're about to get a little bit of a loss. Jeremy Fowler, ESPN. This comes from Jeremy Fowler. Some league circles are watching a potential pairing of Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson with newly appointed general manager Adam Peters in Washington. If they've got some kind of connection, guess what? And this is the first time this has been uttered in 25 years. I think you'd rather have the Washington job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For years, it was, oh, good. Washington wants him. That means we can have him. This is the first time it's like, oh, gosh, Washington wants him? I don't know. He'll probably take them over us because they have the top pick. They have, a new owner that doesn't have the reputation of David Tepper, at least not yet. They have Adam Peters, who's highly respected in the league. So if Ben Johnson is your guy, and you know how I said like the insiders, as soon as Washington needed a GM, immediately started putting Adam Peters at the top of their list. It's kind of been similar with the Carolina head coaching job. As soon as Carolina fired Frank Reich, all of the insiders were pointing towards they really like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was the one that got away last year. They really want Ben Johnson. Well, if Adam Peters also wants Ben Johnson, you might better start looking at your number 2. Who's your backup plan? Maybe it's Slowick, maybe it's Brown, whoever it is, but you might want to start looking at your backup plan. This is called making your bed, and now you have to lay in it. You made your job less attractive based on how you've acted as a franchise, as an owner, as a hirer and firer over the last 5 years, and now you have to lay in that situation and recognize that there are certain other jobs that if they want your guy, he's not your guy. That's the cold, hard truth of it. So as the carousel turns, just know that it probably isn't going to stop with Ben Johnson now if Washington legitimately wants him. And, $20.6 billion, whatever it is for Tepper, that intimidates a lot of people. I don't think it intimidates the ownership group of the Washington Commanders. None of them individually might be that high, but if they, let's put our money in the middle and split it, they might be up there near him.
I mean, let's be real. You own an NFL team. You got cash.
True, but there are more cash-poor organizations.
Oh, for sure. Like for example, the Raiders aren't really that cash rich.
I mean, some of these
they can afford it.
Some of these families that own NFL teams bought it for like a nickel, and they traded a packaging plant for it in like 1926, and most of their net worth is tied to owning the team. Mm-hmm. That's different than coming in with billions of stock and management assets that you can liquidate if you need to build a new stadium or, make a giant check towards coaching pool salaries and all those sorts of things. It is a different way to operate. And more, we're seeing new money owners, right? All these teams that have bought recently, they're not intimidated by a 20 billionaire. Maybe if it were just, baseball, straight up no salary cap, but not just in a football situation. So Ben Johnson may be one that got away. May have had a nibble on the line, but didn't even start reeling it in.